What's going on, guys? I know you guys have heard the unfortunate news that AJ Styles is retiring this year and possibly at the Royal Rumble because he has the match on the line against Gunther. So in the spirit, I've got the old classic AJ Styles merch on, and we are going to rank every single one of his WrestleMania matches from worst to best. Now, we're not talking about just the match, we're talking about the build and the overall storyline, the rivalry, how important it was. So speaking of important, the New Day, fantastic tag team, one of the greatest of all time. But AJ Styles is not a tag team wrestler, and this tag team barely lasted. This is the least important match. I forgot this match existed. I really did. It's like the only AJ Styles match I couldn't come up with of what he did that year. Except 39, I forgot that he was injured that year. So there's no match for him during the LA WrestleMania. So this I can comfortably put at the bottom. Next, number 8. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. I just wasn't a huge fan. It wasn't the viral match. Logan Paul didn't do the things that Logan Paul's known for. He tried to be a normal wrestler, and he tried to go against one of the best wrestlers of all time, and it didn't work out that great, in my opinion. So, is here towards the bottom. This just wasn't the greatest WrestleMania. Alright, WrestleMania 35, Randy Orton versus AJ Styles. So, this one, it was a pretty good match, pretty solid. I just don't remember much of the feud. That's why it's down this far. I don't remember much of the match. It's probably one of the least memorable AJ Styles WrestleMania matches. I love both of these guys. I just don't remember much about it. So, that's why this one is this low. This was a cool WrestleMania, though, the New York, and that was a cool attire of AJ Styles. Alright, so AJ Styles is a great, he's one of the best of all time, and people love him. So this was an automatic dream match when Edge came back. AJ Styles versus Edge. And it was not a bad match. It's what set up Judgment Day with Damian Priest interfering at the end and all, but you just kind of expected better. I know these two aren't necessarily in their prime, at least Edge wasn't, but it just is a little underwhelming for what you would expect out of these two titans. So that's why this one is a little lower than it probably should be, but it wasn't a bad match, but I just think there's better. Next, another match in the same vein, Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania 34 for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And this match, everyone wanted it to be like their Tokyo Dome Classic. It just didn't hit that level. It was just, you felt like you kept waiting for it to get really good, but it just never hit that next level. And the heel turn at the end, which led to an entire summer of Shinsuke Nakamura targeting AJ Styles' nuts, just wasn't the greatest idea in feud. So yeah, that one's kind of a little low. I do like the build up though. It just, the match didn't match the build. Alright, underrated pick, LA Knight versus AJ Styles is pretty solid. It's pretty quick. Pretty decent build. It wasn't a horrible build. It wasn't the greatest either, but pretty solid. WrestleMania 40, of course. Not too much to say, just I couldn't find anything wrong with it. I thought it was pretty solid, so I decided to put it up pretty high, and it had a more memorable build. And after this, AJ Styles' first WrestleMania match against Chris Jericho at WrestleMania 32 in Dallas. What is there to say? First Mania was a great match, pretty good feud, Y2AJ. AJ did lose, which was a little unfortunate, but I mean, he recovered. He was WWE Champion just a few months after this, so it didn't hurt him in the long run. Alright, WrestleMania 33. This is number 2. So, I love this match. I really do. I've rewatched it. It's incredible. It was a normal match, but it kind of turns into no holds barred because then the trash can gets involved and the coast to coast with the trash can. I don't know how Shane McMahon did it, but he really put on one hell of a match in this one. Him and AJ Styles put on probably the best match of this WrestleMania, and who could have saw that coming? Maybe you could have because it was prime AJ Styles, but it's a pretty solid match. And then his best WrestleMania match ever. WrestleMania 36, the Boneyard match. Which, I don't know if I would have put it as my number one, but most people think this is the best, so I was like, okay, I'll put it up there. And also, it was the only main event AJ Styles ever got in WrestleMania, so I was like, alright, I'll give it. So, it was a cinematic match. It was the Undertaker's final match in WWE. It's pretty damn solid in my opinion, but yeah, quite the build. Them exposing the Undertaker is not just this mystical being, he's also a human. It was a pretty good build during the pandemic, so it was definitely a really good match, great build. I couldn't believe what I was watching the first time watching it. It was like straight out of Sons of Anarchy or something, but it was a fantastic match. That was not a wrestling match, but it's just a cool fight, so I think it's pretty damn solid. So, depending on if he retires at the Royal Rumble, these are all his matches. Maybe he'll get one more if he beats Gunther. We don't know. But, yeah, it's a little celebration video. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe. See you in the next one.